The purpose of this video is to just show some conventions that beginners should be using when they are asking questions or when they're trying to figure out things themselves. The example is given of a great, I believe, grandfather, and one of the researchers, Gabriella, found his birth record. I then suggested that the person asking the question go back and look for house 49. Well, let's take a look at the record first of all. Page number, I don't know what this says, but it means date, Zeit, time, date, I don't know. But Geburt is birth. B looks almost like birth, doesn't it? And then this is christening. I can't find a synonym in English, but I know that that's what it is. This is Dort, and it looks like maybe it's abbreviated, but it means village or location, and house, H-A-U-S, looks like house number. And then here's name of the christened. You can read this, religion, and you can kind of guess if it says Catholic or Protestant, or even Jewish. This is the gender, the sex, manly versus whatever. So if it says this one, then it's a boy. If it says that one, it's a girl. But you can deduce that by looking at the name. Magdalena is obviously feminine. So this is the word used for a girl child. And I would suspect that this is legitimate or illegitimate. And the way you could deduce that is if you find one where there is no father listed, Vater, father, looks the same, then whatever the word is here would mean illegitimate. Mutter, mother, pretty much the same. I don't pay much attention to this here, but this is the sponsor's name, and Stand is occupation. And I don't know for sure if this is the midwife or not in these cases. Haven't looked at it that closely. But my suggestion to the person who was the descendant of this Martin was go look. And she replied, well, I found Anna in 1834. Well, I went looking in the 1834 records and didn't find her, but I knew I had seen her, so went looking and found her in not 1834, but 1832. So first of all, when you are giving a location, it is a very good idea to either specify the image numbers, in this case it's 65 in the same book, or else the actual URL for the link. Now, when you've zoomed in, the URL gets kind of long because it's got codes here to match the zooming. So I'm going to go backwards one and then forwards back to 65. And this time I'll come up here, PC, it would be Control C. On a Mac, Apple, it's Command C. I do not know anything about tablets. So I'll come back here and say it is image 65 in the same book. Now, you can do Shift Enter, and that is like 2 hard returns in word processing. And it works both on Apple and PC. And then you paste the link, and when you hit enter, it then submits it. It's going to come up with a picture of the book. If you want to emphasize it, you can leave it, but otherwise you can say remove preview, and then it just has the link. Because I did Shift Enter twice, then it shows up a little bit. Back to the actual book. This was it, yes. Notice that now the link shows up with the name of the book, Turhanov 4, and then the 65 is the middle number, and the N stands for narodil, which is births. So you can kind of get a clue what's going on. They were very wise to add the extra 0 because in case they found that they missed a page, then they can go 655 and without having to renumber all of the images. In some of the other archives, because they did do it sequential, that's what happens, and then it messes up all of your links. But my real problem with this was, do we actually have the same parents? That was the trick question. So if we go look at our first Martin here, it looks like his father is Johann. How about Anna? Yes, her father looks like Johann. But we have a problem with the mothers. At least I do, or did. I can't read this name. I can't read much of this. Here's the Tochter. By the way, if you search on German word lists, family search German word list, you get a very nice article explaining stuff in brief. And so, Tochter, daughter, where are you? Huh. Isn't that weird? They don't have daughter in there. But it's Tochter. And so it says that the mother is the daughter of whatever that name is. Can't read this because it's in the shadow. But it is in this location, number 26. And this is the older spelling. So the good news is the mother is from the same village as where they're living. And then it's Catherine, who's also from the same village. How does that compare to the first one? It was house 26. This one says house 49. Oh, we have a discrepancy. The good news is there was a third record back on 55, image 55, for Margaretha. And this is why you want to search for all of the siblings, because stuff gets clearer. Now we can clearly see this is Ursula, daughter of whatever that name is. I think it's Václav. Can't read that one yet. And I think this is his occupation. From number, someplace. Mother is Catherine. Oh, yeah, look at her last name. So if we go back and look at the Catherines, oh yeah, that's that last name. Oh yes, so it's the same mother. It's just that the house numbers changed. Perhaps her father moved. I kind of forgot where I was going with that. Anyhow, oh yes, now I can make this out. This is Ursula. Ursula. There aren't too many names that end in ULA, so I would deduce that it is the same mother. At first I was going to say, aha, it looks like it's a different mother between the two births, and we're going to need to go back and look for a wedding. There are other videos out there that show you how to drill down from the top, but if you wanted to go backwards on one of these, you could click on the name there, click on the name here, and then you get a list. Now we were in the 1830s. Oh, that's what we have to do, is the date thing. So double rings stands for marriage, plus sign stands for death. Hint. So here's the name of that particular village where they were living. So a marriage record for that bride might well be in this book. If there is an I, like this one, it means it's an index. Those are a mixed bag. Some are very well written and very helpful, and others are like, what in the world was this person thinking when they organized it? They didn't explain it. So it looks like in this case you're just going to have to just read through the books looking for those particular house numbers or something. We can honestly tell you that some of us have been through a book a dozen times before we go, oh my goodness, there it is. How many times have I been past it? So um, no one will give you any sympathy about. I can't make out everything. We can't either. We just keep looking for some letters that make sense. Okay, let's go back to, and then I ruined it, didn't I? Was she 65? I used the wrong one. Yes, there she is. Anna was not born in 1834. She died in 1834. That's what the cross stands for, death. She was born in 1832. They didn't bother putting the 1 because, heavens to Betsy, it's going to be 200 years before the year 2000. So they just typically put 832 for 1832, so you'd know it wasn't 1732. And as far as reading the dates, there's no reason on earth why you couldn't read that as July, July. Now what gets a little odd is June is Juny, but just look at the first 3 letters. May, May, May. March, again, if you throw off the Z, you just see MAR. So this is when she died, and you would be able to go back to that list of books. Oh yes, 1834. Yes, her death would be in this book somewhere. As far as how these books are organized in Portafontium, if you click in the black area and scroll down, you'll see some explanations here. They are somewhat helpful if you can figure out what they mean. I have found that frequently somebody went in and penciled in a page number down here, and that's the page number they're referring to here. This one doesn't have that detail, but I just discovered that like day before yesterday. Like, oh, well, that'll help me a lot. So, what do we know so far? We know that your ancestor on image 75, Martin, is at least the 3rd child. There may be others. It was 30, 32, and what year was he born? See, there's the MARZ. He was born in 1835. Oh, that's 30, 32, 35. That's about right. Except Anna died in 32, 34. Okay, I guess that works out about right. Sometimes if there's a large gap, you might want to take a look again and see if there's another child. Now, I did run into somebody else who was also living in house 49, but the names did not resemble this at all. So there might have been another family also living in 49. Could have been a brother, sister, cousin, who knows. But those are some of the mysteries that you will want to solve as you work through this stuff. Be sure to write notes to yourself. I get going pretty good and find something, and then I forget to write down why I drew that conclusion. And then a year later, I come back and it's like, what was I thinking? Oh my goodness. And then I have to work through it again. Whereas the ones where I have a note to myself, even if it's somewhat cryptic, it gets my mind thinking about what in the world was I thinking back then. And then I can figure it out pretty easy. So to review, when you are copying and pasting one of these hyperlinks up there, whichever type of computer it is, if you want it to be the zoomed look, you would copy the longer one. If you want it to be a shorter URL, just so that it's easier to paste, then you would get it back to this view. Then in Facebook, when you're replying to the person who's helping you, you'd say, I found it on image such and such, here is the link. You will see in many of the posts, people say, what's the link? Some people will also snip a piece of the record, but because Facebook degrades the quality of the photos that are posted, then we can't zoom into it and read the letters easier. So we much prefer a link. Gabriella did both of them up here. As you can see, she posted the link right there, and then she also posted the snip of it. But as you can see, I can enlarge it a little bit. But then I really do have difficulty scrolling, and it's just blurry. So hopefully this helps you out with your beginning search. First of all, you'll want to find stuff that looks like it belongs. Make a list of everything. Sort through it. Look at it for a few days until you can figure out what's going on. See if you can figure out. You do know that Martin's father was Johann, which is Jan in Czech, and of course John in English. And it looks like his mother was Ursula. That is a blessing. When you have an ancestor with a nicely unique name like that, it makes it so much easier to find. Well, that's all for now. Talk to you later. Bye.